Hello and welcome to episode 6 of 10,000 Stitches podcast, a weekly chit chat all about sock knitting. My name is Andy and I'm here to chat with you about sock knitting. If this is your first time here, thank you. It's as good of a time to join in as any. And if you're coming back from a previous episode, thanks for coming back. First of all, so I usually mention this. So this is being recorded on ambulance. Okay. So this is being recorded on Tuesday, January 12th, and it will be posted on Wednesday, January 13th. Typically, I try to record on the weekend. This week, I was not able to. Also, that explains the horrible lighting because it's actually about 6 o'clock at night, so it's dark outside. So all I have is my overhead light, which is not ideal, but it doesn't get better anywhere else in the apartment. So if I can do any editing, I'll try and edit it and brighten things up. Otherwise, maybe I'll just, kind of tilt everything up towards the light. I don't know. We'll just make do. Sometimes these things happen. So yeah. Okay, where you can find me. So depending on where you're watching will determine which of these are relevant to you. You can find me on various social media as Purlbug, Purlbug. That's Instagram, Twitter, and Ravelry, although I'm not very active on Twitter, so Instagram and Ravelry basically. You can find the blog at thepurlbug.com. And then, of course, on YouTube, 10,000 Stitches Podcast. There's also a Ravelry group called the 10,000 Stitches Podcast group. And based on where you're watching will determine kind of where you can find links and other important things that are mentioned. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I will put a link down in the description to the blog post that goes with this episode, and you can find all your links there. There's also a link in the description on YouTube to the Ravelry group. If you're on the blog, everything important that I mentioned that can be linked, if I remember, will be linked down below the video. Same way if you're in the Ravelry group. Anything that can be linked, as long as I remember, will be linked below the video. Did I mention my name? I'm Andy, just in case I forgot to mention that. Like I said, it's about 6 o'clock at night. My brain's a little bit scrambled because I have been at work all day and I'm still trying to get used to the new job and everything, so bear with me. So let's see. So what is the plan for today? So I did the intro. We'll talk about a finished object that I have, a couple works in progress, what's coming up next, talk about the knit along, talk about a podcast that I've been listening to, also talk about project bags, what I've been using, because it was mentioned in a comment. I have a question of the week, and then we'll do some chit chat at the end. I can tell you all about the first week of my new job and how my second week's going and all of that stuff. So yeah, but if you don't care, that way you can get out of here after the knitting's done. Okay, so finished object. So my finished object is my first pair of socks for 2015. And I feel like these are a little bit cheating because I actually started them on New Year's Eve, so I couldn't even enter them in my own knit along. But you know what? That's just how it goes sometimes. And these are a pair of socks for Wesley, and these are using the Jack pattern. And of course, given the lighting, I don't know how well these are going to show up. Basically, the Jack pattern is just a very simple... Oh, this is going to be horrible. Merp. Merp, merp, merp. I don't think I can catch the light. It's basically a very simple, like garter stitch rib pattern. That kind of shows it. It's pretty simple. It's a very simple pattern. It's just, it's like knit 4, purl 1, slip 1, purl 1, knit 4. Pretty basic. So these were for Wesley. I knit these out of the Knitted Wit Victory Sock, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon in the color charcoal. And he's already worn them. They've already been worn and washed once. So, and these were knit toe up using kind of my new standard toe that I showed in last week's video, how I do that, how I do like the increases and everything. So they were knit toe up, 64 stitches on US size 1s, which are 2.25 millimeter, and using the Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which of course you can't see. Using Fish Lips Kiss Heel, and these are a shorter sock. Let's see, can I hold it up against? So it's a little bit shorter sock because he tends to prefer ankle socks. They do come up over his ankle, but that's about as far as they go. Like I said, they've already been worn once, and I don't think I'm going to be able to get the light so you can actually see this. Maybe. So you can see the heel is already starting to pill on them. And I think I was joking that he's going to force me to also learn how to darn socks. Because I think he's going to wear through the heels on these pretty fast. I mean, partly because he's just hard on socks. Like, I never wear holes in my socks. He wears holes in almost all of his socks. And the shoes that he currently wears are like a little bit too big for him, which I've scolded him for already. But it means that his like heels slip around a lot more, which tends to put a lot more wear on the heels of his socks. So I will probably have to learn how to darn heels sooner rather than later. But you know what? These are the things you do for love. So yeah, but these are done. It was a really fun stitch pattern. It's nice because like you only do it, yeah, you only do the pattern every other row. So you know, you have a lot of rows of just plain knitting. And yeah, it was a nice pattern. This was I've mentioned this before, but this yarn was so nice to work with. It's super soft, super squishy. It's a nice, like, fat kind of yarn, you know, a nice round, tightly plied yarn. So it was really a joy to work with, and I will definitely buy more knitted wit when I am getting closer to the end of my project. So yeah, couldn't be happier with these. And I will let you know how they hold up. They're definitely pilling other places too, but that's just how it goes. So yeah, first finished sock of 2016. Woot! So yeah, let's talk about socks that are in progress. So first one is one that hasn't had any progress made on it, I don't think, since the last time I showed it. This is the sock for my dad. So I think I've shown the first one that was finished. This is knit with Plymouth Yarn's Diversity, which is a non-wool sock yarn. It's like 93% acrylic, 7% elastic. This was knit toe up, Fish Lips Kiss heel, a little bit, you know, basically an ankle sock length. 72 stitches on size 0 needles. So this is the first one that's finished. And then the second one, I think I have basically just finished the toe increases. And like I said, not much has happened with this lately because I took it to work and left it at work thinking I would get some time there to work on it, and I have not. So I brought it back home to try and get working on it here because these are a birthday present for my father, and his birthday is at the end of the month. So I wanted to have them finished pretty soon here so I can get them plopped in the mail towards him. So I'm going to try and get these done probably as soon as I get my other work in progress done. I'll finish this one up before I start my next pair. So yeah, so that's that. And then my other work in progress is my blueberry waffle socks. So this one, again, I have one done, which I finished last night. I think, yeah, I finished this last night. This is knit with Patton's Croy in the gray marl. And it's this nice, really like flecked kind of gray color. It makes me think of like a proper boot sock, and especially with the blueberry waffle pattern, that definitely kind of contributes to that boot sock feeling because it produces a very thick, squishy sort of sock. So this was knit toe up, 64 stitches on a size 1, so 2.25 millimeter needle, Fish Lips Kiss heel. And I did contrasting toes in some scraps of the Patton's Croy Route 66 that I had. So this one is done, and this is actually the first sock that I've knit for myself in quite a while. And it's the first sock I've knit for myself using the Fish Lips Kiss heel. And I did this one toe up, so I used my little cardboard foot cutout, and it fits really great. I enjoy it a lot. So I'm looking forward to have a pair of them. The other one is about this far, so I've gotten the toe done, and I'm a couple inches into the foot of the sock. So I'm hoping to get this one done, I don't know, maybe by Friday, the end of Friday night, so that then I can work on that other sock over the weekend and not fall too far behind. Because I kind of have a schedule set for myself. So like the Jack socks, these were supposed to be finished by last Sunday, and I finished them just a little bit early. And then these socks are supposed to be finished by this Sunday. So basically I'm aiming to complete a sock a week, or a pair per week, by Sunday, so that I basically have a pair finished to show when I record. But ideally I'd like to have them finished by Saturday so that I have a pair that's finished and I can start the next pair the next day. So I hope that made sense. Like I said, I have fuzzy after work brain, so if I'm not making sense, bear with me. Next week's episode will be better because I will for sure record on the weekend. Anyway, things that are coming up then. So I've mentioned this before, but if you want to see kind of what socks I have planned for the next couple weeks, you can look in my queue on Ravelry, and I have them all queued up for the next couple months, I think. But my next pair of socks is the Melisandre by Pearlescent, I think. And those ones are going to be made out of this Cascade Heritage sock in, I think this is like the pumpkin colorway. It's orange. It is number 5646. So it's this nice bright orange, which I figure will kind of work well with that ribbing pattern, because I think the picture for the pattern shows them in red, and I thought orange looked nicer. So that will be those. And then, and I'm not sure if I'm going to make these ones for me or for someone else. I haven't quite decided yet. But yeah, so that will be those. And then the next one coming up after that is the basket weave rib socks, which I cannot for the life of me remember who that's by. Let me see if I can bring up my queue really quick. I'm looking at my phone right now to see if I can bring up my queue so that I can give credit to the person that it's by. They're the basket weave socks by, come on. This is something we used to do in undergrad in like the physics department I was in, because in kind of like our common room, we got horrible cell phone reception. So we would put our phones by our head and stand by the window because somehow that worked to make it go faster. But I'm getting nothing. Nothing. Anyway, basket weave rib sock, which of course I'll link to with all the other relevant links. So, but I don't know which yarn I want, so I need help to figure out which yarn I should use for that. I'm thinking I either want to use this purple, which is like a kind of lilac-y sort of color. And this is, again, that Cascade Heritage sock in color 5614. It's kind of a nice lilac-y color. If you want a truer color on this, it's in my stash that I show on episode 4, I think. So either I'm thinking that one, or I'm thinking maybe the Patons Kroy casual colors, which is kind of Patons Kroy FX casual colors, and that is kind of greens, or no, blues and browns. Again, this is not showing up well, but it's kind of like transitions between blues and browns. So I don't know which one I want to do. Let me know which one you think would be better. And of course, I still can't get my phone to, I don't know why it is just not having it. Oh, of course, now it's working. The basket weave rib is by Sarah Ronchetti. So, yeah. Help me pick. Let me know what you think. Which one should I use to make those socks? Because I am not sure. I have a lot of other yarn, but I kind of want to save it for other patterns. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So that's what's coming up next. That's like the next 2 patterns I'll be doing. And yeah. So what else? Okay, so knit along stuff. I'm not going to like super hardcore rehash the knit along stuff other than to say we have a knit along going around right now. It's the first one of 2016, so this one is focused on ribbed socks, and I will link to the chatter thread wherever the links are for however you're watching this. And you can take a look at all the rules there. We've got some great chatter going on, which I'm really loving. And in the chatter thread, I have linked all of the patterns that I'm doing during this 2-month period when the knit along is running, so that if you need any inspiration or you're kind of wondering, does this thing fit for ribbed socks, you can take a look at some of those patterns. You can also ask if you're not sure. We have our first finished object, and I cannot for the life of me remember who did it, but we had our first entry in the finished object thread, so that's super exciting. It runs until the end of February, so you have plenty of time to enter. So yeah, and there will be prizes. I don't have them yet because I haven't bought them yet, but there will be prizes, and I have some kind of yarn that's been I've like put it on my wish list or whatever on Etsy, made by like Virginia dyers, various, Virginia indie dyers. And so I'm thinking it's gonna be one of those. I just have to get it. And for that, I'm just waiting till I've gotten a paycheck or two. So when I have a prize, I will show you guys, but there will be a prize. And yeah, I think that's it for that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm probably not going to do this every week. I'll just do it when it's relevant, but I thought I'd mention podcasts that I've been listening to, knitting podcasts. You guys know that I watch the Knitting Expat podcast, and I watch that pretty religiously, and she just put out a new episode today, and I think she mentioned me, so if you're here from that, thank you. I haven't gotten a chance to watch the latest episode yet. I'll probably do that Wednesday morning, before I head to work. So haven't gotten a chance yet, but I'm excited to. I love her podcasts. But the new one that I've started watching just like this past week is, if I can bring it up, is the, oh my goodness. I thought I was subscribed to it. Oh, yeah, okay. The Sticks Plus Twine podcast. And of course, I'll link to that YouTube channel. He has like 6 episodes out right now. I've only watched the first 2, but I like it. He's Canadian. And it's a guy. And I enjoy watching male podcasters for knitting because I think it's a different perspective that's very interesting. And especially for me because I tend to knit for a lot of guys. Like, I have brothers and then Wesley that I knit for and stuff. So it's always tough to find like patterns that are appropriate to knit for guys. So I enjoy watching male podcasters. I've also watched Sockmatician, but like his episodes are just too long. Like just way too long. Sticks Plus Twine tends to be, at least so far, all the ones I've seen have been under an hour, so that's kind of nice. Sockmatician is great. He's a great storyteller, but his podcasts are just too long for me to make it through. So yeah, Sticks Plus Twine, I highly recommend checking him out. And he knits socks, or he was getting into knitting socks. Like I said, I'm a couple episodes behind, so I've been slowly catching up, but yeah, I highly recommend checking that one out. So yeah, so that's that. And then, I was going to talk about project bags. And again, let me fuss around on my phone. Can you tell how unprepared I am? But I wanted to figure out who had asked me this question. And it was about my, like project bags, because so in last week's episode, I mentioned that I had done a video on my other channel that focuses on like writing instruments and stuff like that. And I did a video talking about my January everyday carry, which is kind of like a different way of doing a what's in my bag. So I linked to that video, and I'm actually thankful that so many of you guys went over and watched it. Thank you for checking that out and indulging, some of my other passions. But I had someone ask, Running Knitter asked about project bags because they said that since you did not mention a knitting project bag, does that mean you don't carry your knitting in your EDC bag? And that's 100% correct. I do not. I actually don't carry my knitting with me pretty much at all, unless I know for sure I'm going to have a chance to knit wherever it is that I am. Because like for like going to work, like I said, I took some stuff to work with me thinking I'd be able to knit there, and I can't. And it's pretty rare that I'm ever somewhere like out and about where I wind up with time that I can knit. And I'm not gonna lie, so like the other day we were heading to a music store because Wesley wanted to look around at some stuff, and I was like, oh, do you mind if I bring my knitting and I'll sit and knit while you look around at stuff? And he was like, no, I'd rather you didn't do that. So I think while it doesn't embarrass me, like sometimes he doesn't like that very much, so I tend to just not bring it with me. But mostly just because I don't wind up somewhere long enough that it makes sense to lug it there and then bring it out and get all set up, and then it's like, oh, well, it's time to go. So, but anyway, I thought I would mention like kind of what I'd use for project bags, because I don't tend to use what a lot of other knitters use as project bags that I see. So for one of my project bags, I use this little case, which is a cosmetics bag. So it's I think this is like, this format is called a train case, and it's just this little zippered bag. It zips all the way around, has a little handle, and it's clear plastic. And this was the first one that I got and started using for knitting, and I actually got this back when I was living in Wisconsin, because we had 2 cats while we were there that we were taking care of while their owner was out of the country and stuff. And we had 2 cats, and they liked to eat my yarn. And so this was a way that I could, you know, be working on like maybe a very small shawl or a pair of socks or something, and I could stick them in here when I was done working on them and zip it up, and then I could set it down somewhere and know that the cats could not get into it. Because they only seemed to get into my yarn when I left it sitting out. So this worked really well. It's very nice. It works well for a pair of socks. As you can see, I can fit like my needles and stuff in there and a sock ball, and normally I have, you know, if I have a finished sock, I have that in there too. So it works really well for a pair of socks. It was pretty cheap. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's not really good for knitting while my stuff is in there. Like usually if I'm using this, I take everything out and set it down on my lap and have my ball of yarn on my lap, because like if I try to open it up, it doesn't really stay open. So I keep like a little binder clip in there, and if I want to be knitting out of it, I will take the binder clip and I'll stick it on like that so that it keeps it open like this. But then it has a tendency to like fall over. Otherwise, like because it flops back over, I don't like to have my yarn like rubbing up against the zipper. So it's really nice for transport. It fits well in, you know, my kind of everyday bag or in my backpack or something. But I primarily just use this for storing my project when I'm here at home, if I want to like keep it all tucked together and out of the way, or for transporting from place to place. So that's one of my project bags. The other project bag I have is this monstrosity, which is actually pretty large. Like that's it compared to the size of my head. And this has my name on it. And this was a gift from Wesley's mother. I don't know who these bags are by. Let me see. Does it say 31? I don't know. They're these cool bags. She got us these bags that have like this like rectangular sort of stiff frame around the edge, and it's kind of this like big like duffel bag sort of thing. I love them. They're great. They're great for storing stuff. And then she got us these little pouches to kind of go with them. And so this is mine, and you can see it's just kind of a basic big pouch. And I've used it for lots of different things, like over the time that I've had it. But lately I've been using it to store yarn projects. So like it holds like my yarn and a sock. What else do I have in here? Notebook. I have the packages for my knitting needles. I have my foot cut out. I have Wesley's foot cut out. And then I have like some little yarn balls and a stitch counter and a darning needle. And normally I keep my little tiny pair of scissors in here too, so that like everything's all in here, so I don't have to go looking for scissors. But this is what I usually use when I'm kind of like here for like my projects that are gonna sit here at home, because I just leave this sitting out kind of by the couch where I usually sit and work. And I mean, yes, it's big. Like I don't like to put this in my bag because it takes up practically my whole bag, but everything fits in it very comfortably. So everything fits in there very comfortably. And I mean, if needed, I can zip it up and take it with me. But I just like it. And it kind of sits open like this on the floor. So then I could leave my yarn in there if I wanted to. Although I usually don't. I usually take it out and set it on my lap. But this is my other project bag. So like I said, I don't tend to have like traditional sort of project bags. Although I'm in the market for one, what I have has been working, and so spending money on something else just hasn't seemed like a very good idea. But I do definitely plan to get, a cutesy project bag at some point during the year. But yeah, so that's that. Okay, so on to my question of the week. And I'm guessing this might be a shorter episode just because I'm so all over the place and frazzled. But that's okay, right? I mean, hopefully by the time I record on Sunday, I'll be more organized. Although I think I'll have a lot of chit chat to talk about. But anyway, question of the week. So my question of the week this week, I have a little story to tell first. So like I've mentioned, this past week was my first week at my new job. And then this week is my second week. And then classes start next week. So right now I'm kind of scrambling to get prepared to be teaching classes and doing my job basically once classes start. So part of that has been running through a bunch of labs because I'm teaching this lab that it is like for, I think, junior level physics majors. And so I'm teaching it, and so I have to know how to do the labs, and some of them are different than what I've done before. So one of the labs is doing atomic spectra, which basically you have like a tube of a gas of a given element. So like we do hydrogen, helium, and mercury. So like for the hydrogen one, you have this glass tube that just has hydrogen gas in it, and that's it. Ideally, that's it. It's just hydrogen gas in there. And then you put it in this special lamp, and you turn the lamp on, and it applies a voltage to the tube, and it makes it glow. And so hydrogen turns purple, I think. It looks purple, but then we can use this kind of like setup that we have. And it's basically like a prism, like how if you put like regular light through a prism, it'll separate out into the rainbow. This does the same thing, but for atomic like spectra. So instead of seeing a rainbow, you see very specific lines of colors when you do this process. So that's one of the labs that we do. So I was just running through it to practice it, and with these tubes, you're applying quite a bit of voltage to them. So when you turn the lamp off, they're very hot. And I knew this, and it says that in the lab manual. So like I knew this, but I was like, let's see how hot. Like I was just curious, kind of like, okay, could I take it out right away? So I reached over and I grabbed it, and nope, very hot. And I mean, I didn't touch it for very long, but I think I burned my index finger when I touched it because like it hurts, like it hurts a lot. And I noticed this today while I was writing. The story has a point, I promise. And so, so it kind of hurts to write. Luckily, it doesn't really hurt to knit, but it made me think of the time that I burned my left hand when I grabbed a very hot pan out of the oven without an oven mitt on. It was out of the oven, but it had just recently come out of the oven and I forgot. And I burned my left hand. So I was curious, my question of the week is, have you ever gotten a non-knitting related injury that has affected your knitting? And if so, do you have a story that you'd like to share? Is it a funny story? Is it a tragic story? Hopefully most of us, if we've had these kinds of stories, we can look back and laugh at it in hindsight. Like, I look back and laugh at mine because they're pretty much out of my own stupidity. But at the time, it's super annoying. Like I said, luckily for me, this one has not really affected my knitting, but when I burned my left hand, because I grabbed the handle of a pan, it like burned all along here, and so it kind of was a little sore and I couldn't knit for a while. So if you have any stories that you'd like to share, tell me what that is. So that's my question of the week. Do you have a non-knitting related injury that affected your knitting? If so, want to share about it. Okay, so I think that's it for the knitting stuff. Oh, okay, the last thing. So I think I mentioned that I'm pretty sure that Mina from the Knitting Expat mentioned me on her podcast this week. And I've been getting a lot of new subscribers on YouTube today. And as of the time that I'm recording this video, and I've actually seen a couple emails pop up on my computer since then, but I'm just going to ignore them, I hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. Oh, so that's very exciting. So thank you, everyone. I super duper appreciate it. I'm not the kind who like begs for subscriptions and stuff. And nothing against people like YouTubers who do that, but that's just kind of something that I decided back when I started making YouTube videos for my other channel and stuff, that I refuse to be one of those people who's like, make sure you subscribe and like this video, because I just don't care. You know, I make these videos because that's what I want to do, and I really don't care if anyone watches them or not. And I'm glad that people do, and I appreciate the subscribers. Like, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the subscribers, and I appreciate the interaction, and I really do enjoy that and love that. But like, I'm not going to sit and beg for it. Like, that's something I decided a long time ago. I just am not going to. So... But I'm still tickled pink when people want to subscribe to my channel, because that's pretty cool. So thank you, everyone. I super duper appreciate it. And yeah, that's it for the knitting stuff. So if that's all you're here for, I guess this was a short knitting stuff this week. And I'll see you guys next week, hopefully. And thanks for watching. If you're not just here for the knitting stuff and you want to hear about my first week at my new job and all of that, let's continue, shall we? Okay, so first week at my new job was last week, and so I had already been midway through the week when you saw the last episode, which I think I mentioned because of recording early. So let's see, so Monday I got there, and I really couldn't do anything on Monday because I got keys for my office and stuff, but it was the first day that the university had opened back up after the holidays. If you're really new here, by the way, my new job is that let me start a little sooner than that, a little earlier than that. If you're brand new here and you don't know anything about me, I moved from the Midwest out to Virginia. I currently live in Richmond, Virginia. I moved out here in about August, and I've been job hunting for quite a while, and I just recently got a job that I started last week, and I work at Virginia Commonwealth University as a physics instructor. Okay, so that's the job that I started last week, and so I got there on Monday, and the university had just reopened after being shut down for the holidays and stuff like that. So, you know, everything was moving a little slow. Well, it turns out, so I got keys for my office and everything, but it turns out that I couldn't really do anything because I didn't have my university email yet. Because I had turned in all my paperwork the Friday before everything shut down, and they just hadn't processed it. So I didn't have a university email, which meant that I couldn't get my login stuff for the computers. So I basically sat around just kind of doing this for a while, and actually had literally nothing to do. So I came home for lunch and then went back to campus, but there was someone who I was supposed to meet with who had been doing the job before me, who was gonna kind of help me out with some stuff. But he was like, well, I don't come in until the afternoon. I was like, are you kidding me? So there was that, and that was kind of a long, annoying day, just filled with just the slowness of getting things done. And then Tuesday, I finally had my university email, got all that set up, and then found out that I could not log into my computer in my office. And so that was super annoying. So I put in a ticket to the IT people, and I basically still couldn't do anything. There was a little bit that I could do because the guy who'd been doing the job before me was able to email me some stuff, so I could work on stuff, but still really annoying. Then Wednesday finally got it figured out. Everything got sorted out, and I was able to log into my computer. And then Thursday I was actually able to do some real work. And then Friday I had to go and spend all day at a benefits thing, or at a new faculty thing, which was basically the morning was kind of some propaganda kind of stuff, welcome to the university, we're awesome. So that was that, and then we sat in a really long benefits, retirement stuff, retirement kind of section thing, lecture thing, before lunch, then had lunch, then after lunch we had to learn all about health insurance and stuff. And then there was and then after that there was a new faculty reception at this faculty club on campus that I decided to go to. So all in all, it was it was a very useful day, because before that I didn't know how to pick my retirement plan. I didn't understand the health insurance stuff, which seriously, I feel that's got to be the most stressful thing, as an adult. At my last job that I had back in Wisconsin, I don't think I had to do any of that. It was just, here's your retirement, here's your health insurance. boom, done. Like there were no choices. It was just, that's what it is. Versus here, it's like, okay, well, you have to pick between two different retirement plans. Be careful, because whatever you pick is what you're stuck with for the rest of your life. And like there's so many different health insurance plans, and I didn't know what to pick. And so that was super kind of stressful. But the nice thing was that on Friday, like at that faculty reception thing, I got to meet some other young female faculty members who were just starting out, and kind of got to connect with them. So that was really nice, because I kind of have a hard time like making friends with people. I think part of that's just, I think it just gets harder as you get older to like make new friends. And just kind of my career field and stuff, like it's not easy to make female friends in my field. So that was really nice to kind of get a chance to connect with them and all of that. So yeah, so that was kind of my first week. I really felt like I was just like moving through quicksand the whole week. Although I guess that's just kind of the first week at any job. Like in hindsight, I can look back and be like, well, that's just kind of how it is at every job. But when I was in the middle of it, I was super frustrated and super annoyed that I just couldn't get anything done. It's also very strange because like the physics department is in one building, and I'm in a completely different building. Because I'm dealing with like the lab stuff, which are in a different building than the rest of the department. So if I don't leave my office, I don't see anyone else from my department all day. Like they have no idea that I'm there. So it's been really weird to like just not have other people like breathing down my neck or anything. Very different than my last job, where we like had to bill our time in like 15-minute increments to different projects and stuff, and like it was super hardcore. Versus here, it seems like there's much more freedom. It's kind of like, well, you're a full-time adult, you're a faculty member, handle your own time, which I appreciate, and it also is super unnerving at the same time, because it's like, where's someone to tell me what to do? Where's the grown-up? Oh, I'm the grown-up. So that's been kind of strange. So then I'm trying to think. So then this past weekend was busy. I'm trying to even think of what we did on Saturday. And I think I might have just been a lazy bum on Saturday, and that's okay. And then on Sunday, so normally I record on Sundays. Here's why I didn't record on Sunday. The Vikings were playing, and it's a playoffs game. And we were playing the Seattle Seahawks. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm a Vikings fan. And normally what we do is we watch their games like after the fact, because Wesley has like a subscription that allows him to do that afterwards, but we can't watch them live. Or so we thought. But like given that it's the playoffs and stuff, and that my family is certainly not very good about remembering that I don't watch the game at the time that the game is on, so then they'll spoil it for me. So we went out to a place where we tend to go to get like tacos and wings and stuff, and we had lunch because we knew they'd have the game on. So we're sitting there watching the game and all of that. And I got a margarita because I'm a grown-up and I can do that. Except that they make them so strong there, and like really strong drinks in the middle of the day, and I'm a lightweight. So like even by the time we kind of came home, I was still kind of like, ooh. And just was not in the mood to record at all. And then by the time I kind of, was like, okay, maybe I can record now, it was dark. So I was like, well, what's the point? Not thinking that, no, I should really do it while I have time, and then left it until now. But anyway, so that's what, and then we lost. Then it was so disappointing because we lost, and it was really sad because we lost right like at the very end of the game. Like, so if you didn't watch it or you don't care about sports, just zone out for a little bit. But basically what happened was the Vikings wound up being up by 3 field goals. So it was 9-0. Then the Seahawks came back, they scored a touchdown, and they got a field goal. So then it was 10-9. So we got within field goal position within like the last minute of the fourth quarter. Our field goal kicker was lined up, and he has on occasion choked under pressure. And so we're sitting there, and this was, we'd gotten back home from the restaurant, and Wesley had found out that he could actually watch the game on his computer live. So we're watching this live, and I'm like, he's gonna choke. Like, there's no way he's gonna make this. And they were pretty close. Like, it was under 30 yards. And then he choked. and then we lost. So there was that. And a lot of people were really mad at him, but like, I'm like, guys, he put the only points you had on the board. He'd already done his job 3 times. So I mean, yeah, it kind of sucks that he screwed up, but the rest of you guys couldn't score a touchdown the whole game. So whatever. I'm kind of bummed that we lost, but that's how it goes. That's what being a Vikings fan is like. So yeah, so that was that, and then Monday was back to work, and today was back to work, and I'm mostly just trying to kind of, like I said, I'm just trying to get prepared for the semester to start next week and teaching and all of that. So it's just, I feel like my day is super busy and I'm doing a lot, but I don't really feel like I'm getting a lot done. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, wow, I was busy the whole day, but I don't feel like I got anything done. Which is something I think I struggle with in general. Like I have a hard time like with feeling like I'm doing enough. And I think it's just because I'm very type A and all of that. But yeah, I've also been pondering a lot about productivity this week and stuff like that. So yeah, so there's that. I'm trying to think of anything else interesting worth reporting. Wesley bought a violin yesterday. He's decided he's going to learn violin. So that's pretty cool. And I think that's it. I guess this is going to be a short episode this week, which is okay. I wanted to get it edited and maybe uploaded tonight. And again, I apologize if I've been kind of all over the place today. This is not my best work. I'm definitely, going forward, I definitely have to make time on the weekends to record and really just sit down and be like, nope, this is going to happen right now. I don't care what else is happening. I have to make time for it, because recording on the week, like, after being at work all day like this and after eating dinner and all of that, is just no. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. And if you've sat through this, thank you. I appreciate it. If this was your first episode that you've watched, please watch one of my other episodes, better work, and I hope that you'll be back next week, because it'll definitely be better. But yeah, I guess that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!